I think they were probably going to do a little bit more of an introduction to the chairman. So
yeah, the bump music was pretty good.
Yeah, you had walk-on music. What's your, is it Taylor Swift? What's your walk-on music?
No, actually Eminem. Believe it or
Eminem.
not. Yeah.
Oh, very good, very good.
Little FCC hook there.
FC,
well,
that's
so.
right, yeah. It's possible that we see a lapse in government funding in just over 24 hours here. What does that mean for the FCC? How do you address that? What can people expect?
Well, for better or worse, agencies in D.C. have gotten a little bit used to the shutdown issue at this point. We have been hard at work the last couple of weeks preparing for a possible government shutdown. Our chief of staff has this as a major work stream. The good news is, again, we've got a lot of sort of stuff that's on the shelf for how this works. We're in close coordination with other agencies, with other components of the federal government, and we're crunching the numbers right now to see how much funding does the FCC have, when exactly do we have to shut down if there's a lapse. I mean, some of the exact dates in terms of when we run out of funding, we're still working through the final details of that. Hopefully we avoid it, but we do have sort of an off-the-shelf playbook at this time because we've been through. I mean, look, I've been at the FCC itself since 2012. I've been in a lot of different jobs there. I've lived through a couple different shutdowns. Hopefully we don't get there, but we do have a game plan in place that we'll execute on.
And do you think, I mean, if you look at your $2 trillion invested in the last 30 years, that's an incredible number, $2 trillion of investment in the last 30 years. But I remember the very first quarantine in 2020, March 17th for me. Congress shuts down shortly thereafter that, didn't come back until early May. The entire government policy-making operation, town meetings, interactions shifted in how we do business. And
we're in a really unique time where President Trump had the 4 years in office, 4 years out of office, again, sort of honing the game plan in terms of the agenda that they wanted to execute on and coming in and just getting right to work. I mean, again, it's been an incredibly busy time across all agencies. At the FCC in particular, we're running a pretty aggressive agenda. I think normally commission meetings are sometimes 3 or 4 or 5 items, but what we're doing is we're running 6, 7, 8, 9 items. In fact, if we get to an October agenda, we're looking at a pretty packed agenda for that as well. But everyone is just hitting the ground running. They're focusing on wins, and it's a really unprecedented pace and nature of speed right now. Again, I think this goes back to the unique dynamic of this really being a second first term in a lot of ways. I mean, there's no sort of feeling of lame duck. It's all, just energy.
Please welcome Cory Gardner, the newly minted president and CEO of NCTA.
That we tend to underestimate the pace and nature of technological change. Could you talk about that in context of what we're dealing with here today?
Yeah, ultimately, I think, the lesson for the FCC is not to pick, winners and losers. The technology changes so fast. There's only so much we can do at the agency to keep up, but we have to sort of keep our eye towards where it's going. And one of the things that we're doing as well is not only moving, spectrum auctions, whether it's C-band, but we're also looking at, the private sector and looking at where spectrum potentially has been underutilized over the years and, encouraging folks to move spectrum to higher and better use. You've seen that recently with Dish, with EchoStar, where they've decided to move, I think, 50 megahertz to AT&T. We're going to look at that transaction. They've also proposed to free up another 50 megahertz for Starlink, potentially for direct-to-cell technology. And again, if we reach the decision that that's in the public interest, that could have really interesting benefits for the country to lead the way on that next generation of direct-to-cell. So,
Chairman Carr, thank you for being here.
Thanks, bud. I appreciate it. Good to see you.